Hey, yo, hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. Do you know what today is? Today is Wednesday, the best day of the week. You know why? Because it's comic book day. And that means we're going to be talking about my comic load for this week. Now, it is the second week of Zero Month, and we got quite a bit of Batman titles in here. We got 3 Batman titles, along with some other stuff mixed in there, and of course, the Zero issue for Team 7. Actually, I would like to say this is more of a Team 7 month than anything else, because we have really 3 books, along with Team 7, part of the Team 7 family, if I could say that, for lack of a better term. We have Suicide Squad, Grifter, and Deathstroke the Terminator, which were all members of Team 7. And you get to see Team 7 is also a big theme in all those books. Also, I picked up a few issues from things that I'm not necessarily subscribed to, although I might jump on to at some point. In particular was Green Lantern Corps. I don't pick up Green Lantern Corps regularly, but I'm considering it. And I wanted to get it because as Guy Gardner's origin, although Guy's not my favorite Green Lantern, hey, I still want to see it. So might as well start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman our day, and we'll actually do it with Batman issue number 0. And of course, I'm getting all the variant covers, including the combo pack free digital download one that I don't necessarily use. I just give the code to my friend and he uses it. So just take a look at the covers. And I must say, I'm not really too keen on the regular Batman cover. Here's the Virgin cover. But I do like the variant cover, which looks really badass. Batman throwing the Batarang on the bike. So, as with all the Batman titles, they, with the exception of Batman and Robin, the Bruce titles, uh, they're dealing with different parts of Bruce's career before he becomes Batman. Not necessarily tampering with year one, because, well, year one doesn't need to be tampered with at all. All the creators said that. And this takes place right before he kind of dons the persona of Batman. And it has 2 stories, the backup story and the regular story. In the regular story, he's dealing with the Red Hood gang, which is, I guess, Joker's gang before he becomes Joker. In the New 52, they're going with kind of a little bit more of a solid story with the Joker as the Red Hood. And the Red Hood's kind of going around and causing trouble, and again, not to be confused with Jason, it's Joker Red Hood, and Bruce is trying to figure out how to handle him, but he needs to find, this is before he's Batman, so he needs to figure out a persona, a symbol, to strike fear in the hearts of criminals. And it's just him playing around with technology and playing around with exactly how to become what he needs to become, like a Batarang that returns to him on command and stuff like that. And I guess the original Batcave was located right next to Crime Alley, actually in Crime Alley. So that's kind of interesting. The backup story, interestingly enough, kind of shows all the Bat family, at least the major ones, the Robins and Batgirl, before they actually become part of the Bat family. So you see Tim Drake in school, Jason Todd on the streets. You see Dick Grayson with the Flying Graysons, and you see Barbara Gordon talking to her father. And it's actually handled very nicely, and you kind of get to see a glimpse of them before they become members of the Bat family. Particularly the Jason Todd one and the Tim Drake one, I think, stood out very nicely. I'm really interested in Tim Drake Zero issue with Teen Titans. I'm actually glad he's not a Robin. Strike me down with Furious Vengeance, but I think it's better because he gets to stand out on his own as a character. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I thought the taking Joker and making him have the Red Hood gang was a good idea. Bruce trying to infiltrate it was fun also. And it was nice to see the origin, not the origins, but life before the sidekicks. I'll call it that. Life before sidekicknism. Bad is I felt as though the Red Hood story kind of gets cut off and it says to be continued in 2013. What? Is it going to be like continued towards the end of the next story arc? I don't know, but yeah. Besides that, this was a pretty decent issue. I mean, it's Scott Snyder writing Batman, so it's going to be good. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Moving on to Batman and Robin issue number 0. If you like Damian, this is all Damian. It starts from his birth up to the first time he appears in Batman and Son. And this really just gives development for Damien as a character, what drives him, and why he's so fascinated with his father. Because the funny thing is he has that hard relationship with his father, but he's still fascinated with him. You get to see really why, and you also get to see a less stone hard bitchy Talia. In the New 52 recently, Talia's been coming off as kind of a really big bitch, but in this she's a little bit more loving as Talia can get. I mean, when you have Talia as a mother, her not killing you is pretty much saying I love you. But no, it was a very nicely well paced issue, which I guess I'm going to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. It was a very well paced issue. It was one particular part that I thought was adorable is when Damien, when he's 5, his mother says to him, um, when you defeat me on your birthday, I will tell you about your father. And after she beats him, he goes into like a little love chest that you have at the base of your bed, and he finds a cape and cowl, Batman. He puts on. All you see is this not infant, but toddler Damien wearing the Batman cape and cowl. He goes, "Mom, look, I'm a bat," and she. And you think Talia would flip out, but she actually finds it adorable, and she calls him, my little Alexander. So, uh, it had some cute moments in there, and it tied into Batman and his son very nicely too. Bad, I can't really think of any bad at all. I mean, Damien as a character is really starting to grow on me, and he's really starting to develop in such a dynamic character. He's really become enjoyable. Damien's problem will always be that he is Bruce's son, and he's constrained to the fact that when he ages, it shows Bruce's age. And also, there's a bit of continuity issues that I'm going to bring up, which isn't necessarily with this issue, but just in general. In Batman, issue 0 and Detective Comics issue 0, it shows that Batman has been around for 7 years. He came back 7 years ago. However, in Batman and Robin issue 0, and also in Batman Inc. issue number 2, we see that Batman has been Batman at least for 10 years, Damien's lifespan, because he was Batman when he consummated with Talia, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know if DC's just screwing up, but I mean that's just one thing that's annoying. On the whole, this was a really good issue. If you're a fan of Damien, you're definitely gonna like this issue. And if you're not a fan of Damien, this might help you have him grow on you. 4.5 out of 5. Batgirl issue number 0. So 2/3 of this issue is Barbara Gordon's first night as a vigilante, kinda ish. She goes with Commissioner Gordon to do some studying on police work because she wants to go to college dealing with some criminal justice. So she actually goes to the police force, but there's a big commotion, and one of the criminals gets out, and she has to take him down. However, she doesn't really do it as Batgirl per se. You have to read it to kind of understand. In addition to that, we get to see her become Batgirl, her work with Batman and Robin, and then obviously leading up to the killing joke. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good, although not at first realized that the story is very well paced. It gives Barbara Gordon that motivation to become Batgirl. And I didn't realize this until the end of it, but it really did a good job at doing an origin story for Barbara Gordon. Two, we get to, and this is kind of not Barbara Gordon, but we get to see Dick Grayson's New 52 Robin costume. And oh my god, is it awesome! It looks really cool. I think it's actually one of the best Robin costumes. It's very kin to Tim Drake's costume, but instead of green, it's black and all sleeves. It's actually what I would do as a Robin costume. It looks really good. And we also get to see Barbara's Batgirl costume before the New 52 is drastically different from what it is now. It's not the traditional Batgirl costume. It's actually more akin to the All-Star Batman and Robin Batgirl costume, where it's the domino mask, the hair pulled back, and the ponytail, and it's kind of a traditional leotard kind of set. So we get to see a lot of that stuff, little caveats that I like, especially the Robin costume. I know that's not Batgirl related, but I liked it, and I thought the inner dialogue was very nicely done. 5 out of 5. Batgirl was everything that I hoped for and a little bit more. So I'm glad that happened. Onto the Team 7 stuff. So, Deathstroke, the Terminator, issue number 0. Deathstroke's origin pre 52 was perfect. It is what it needed to be. Rob Liefeld basically took that origin and retold it, adding some Team 7 stuff in there. It is basically the origin we had beforehand. In saying that, if you know nothing about Deathstroke's origin, if you didn't read him in the new Teen Titans back in the day, it is basically showing him getting trained by his future wife, them falling in love, having kids, the schism in the family. The only thing really different in this is how his wife is kind of written off paper. Um, I guess a little spoiler. Before the New 52, his wife just up and left him. And this, she fakes his death. Fakes her death. So that's different. And also, they incorporate Team 7 slightly into this. Um, good. It's a solid Deathstroke origin. I'll give Rob Liefeld credit with that. It stays actually very true to what he was before the New 52. Actually, eerily true. There's a few touches here and there, but it's very much the same. But on the flip side, bad, it doesn't do anything different. It's very safe. It was a fun read, actually, but it's a very safe read. It does leave off on a good cliffhanger with a Deathstroke character. So read and you'll see. On a whole, I'll give this a 3.5 out of 5. It was a solid issue. I did enjoy it, and I thought, again, while safe, it did hold up pretty well. Grifter issue 0. That was Grifter issue 0. No, to be honest, Grifter issue 0 was unnecessary and actually not good at all. Um, it's just kind of dealing with him while he's being captured by the Demon Knights. This really, I think, that's how I feel about it. I don't know what to say. They should have done him training and becoming Cole Cash, the special agent, special ops person. They didn't need to divulge any more into his origin as Grifter with the Demon Knights because it was perfectly handled back in the issue 1 through 5 or whatever. Uh, 1.5 out of 5. It was not. It wasn't that it was necessarily bad that it got to 1.5 out of 5. It just totally missed the mark. It just wasn't enjoyable. Um, the art was good though. Suicide Squad issue 0. So this is all Amanda Waller, and I wanted to just take a moment. A lot of people are all pissy and moody that Amanda Waller isn't chunky anymore. That she now represents the cliche female being thin. That's true. But Amanda Waller, as badass as she was, she's now even more badass. I'm loving the changes that they made to Amanda Waller. I was a little iffy at first because again, Amanda Waller, what was cool about her, she was such a powerful character, but she was also kind of a realistic interpretation of what a woman could be, which is out of shape. But I love this Amanda Waller too. Thinner or not, she works out very well. In saying that, issue 0 is all Amanda Waller. You don't even see the rest of the Suicide Squad, and it's her coming to terms and really finding what she needs to do to take on Ballistics and taking on, oh, what's his name? The leader of them, I forget his name. Ramus or Ramus or I don't know. But coming to terms with what she needs to do to take him on. Good. Amanda Waller is portrayed very nicely. The pacing is very good. The dialogue was very good, and I enjoyed the art. Bad. Um, None really. This was actually a really good origin story for the Suicide Squad, despite the fact that it's just Amanda Waller and none of the Suicide Squad was actually in it. And saying that, I give this also a 5 out of 5. Huzzah! Now on to the new comic, and as you can see, I kind of did a small build up to Team 7 issue number 0. Now, I never read the original Team 7, which was, Wildstorm? I could be wrong, but wasn't Stephen Trevor supposed to be on this team? But if you notice, he is not. This issue is standard getting the team together, and Black Canary is pretty much the one behind it. And in saying that, it does a very good job at bringing the team together. It gives everyone a role, gives everyone a position, gives everyone a niche in the team. And I can't fault it for that. It actually does a very good job at that. Bad, The only bad I can really say about Team 7 right off the bat is that, again, I don't like it being said in the past because you know the team eventually breaks up. In saying that, this is going to be an odd recommendation, but although I will not be continuing Team 7, it's still something I recommend to people. Um, the reason why I'm not going to be continuing it is just because I have too much on my plate. I'm getting a lot of comics each month, and it's not something that I need to pick up. Although I might drop Grifter, and maybe I might pick this up. But on the whole, this was actually a really good issue. And if you liked the characters in it, like Slade, Cold Cash, Amanda Waller, um, Black Canary, and all the others, Fairchild, so on and so forth, you might like this issue. Um, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. And like I said, between Suicide Squad, Deathstroke, and Grifter, Team 7 is mentioned in all of them. So if you get all of those titles, you kind of get a Team 7 little package this week. Resurrection Man issue 0, which is more or less Resurrection Man issue 13, but kind of zero-ish. We get to learn where Resurrection Man comes from, and we also get to learn, really, the ending of the Resurrection Man story. Good. I thought the origin for Resurrection Man was actually well handled. The resolution for Resurrection Man is good because it leaves the door open, and all the characters kind of go about their own way in a good way, and it answers the question, why are there two Mitch Shelleys? In addition to that, what I also like, and I'm going to talk a little bit also in Demonites, is I like how the concept of heaven and hell are being portrayed in the DC universe, where it's not like the Epiphany heaven and the Epiphany hell, but rather that they're kind of like in the D&D world. They're just extra dimensional planes of existence, and that hell isn't necessarily connected to God, nor is heaven connected to the Judeo-Christian God. They're more or less celestial beings and demonic beings that happen to just take up the name and the positions that they have there. Um, Hell and heaven aren't actually places where the DC Universe characters' souls go, per se, unless they're actually taken by the angelic or demonic beings. They're more or less where in celestial and demonic beings live. Um, so I thought that was interesting. I think it's a very good way of dealing with heaven and hell, with actually making it the Judeo-Christian heaven and hell. It's more or less D&D heaven and hell. If you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, demonic and celestial planes. Um, so that was good. Bad. The final fight was one panel. That's it. That and although it leaves the door open for Resurrection Man, I would have liked to have at least had an indication on where he's going. I think he should go in Justice League Dark, in my opinion. Is he going to? We don't know. Um, but yeah, 3 out of 5. It was a decent issue. Resurrection Man got good towards the end. It's just sad that it took him so long. It took him till like issue 6 to get good. It took him until the Arkham Asylum story to get good. Demonites. So we get really origin of Etrigan and Jason Blood here. Who they were before they got bonded to each other. How Etrigan had to fight his way up through the pits of hell, and how Jason Blood had to come to terms with the fact that he's kind of a dick. Hey, it can be hard to come to terms when you're a dick. Um, and that's basically the case in Merlin's ultimate plan for the both of them. And because we find some shocking revelations about Merlin and his connections to hell. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I think there's two stories between Jason and Etrigan parallel to each other very nicely. Again, the concept of heaven and hell are more or less extra dimensional planes rather than the legitimate heaven and hell, or how heaven and hell are usually played. Souls don't actually go to hell, or bad souls. It's just where demonic presence live. And I think that's a good interpretation of heaven and hell with the DC universe. We get to see Lucifer, a fallen celestial Lucifer in there, and actually he was fun despite the very little we get to see of him. And again, the building of Etrigan I think was very nicely handled, and the symbiotic relationship between Etrigan and Jason Blood is actually pretty cool, because Jason Blood pretty much threatens Etrigan and says, "You know what? If you're gonna bitch me out, I'll just kill myself, and then you have no way to getting back to the human world." And Etrigan's like, "Okay, I'll handle you. I'll deal with you." Bad. I'm trying to think. There was none. Demonize continues to uh, shock me and awe me. 5 out of 5. Really good issue. Really good issue. The Ravagers, issue number 0. Now, the Ravagers has been a nice little surprise for me lately, because I didn't think this comic was going to be good. I thought it was just going to be something I buy, and I'm like, well, who cares? But Ravagers actually has turned out to be 5-star material for the past 4 issues. And I was eager to read issue 0, which is focused more or less on Terra and Beast Boy, but at the same time, it deals with some of the other Ravagers too. Basically, we get to see Ravager and Beast Boy's life before they escape from nowhere, or the culling, or from the arena, or from the colony, or whatever it calls itself. And we also get to see the origin of Beast Boy's powers, which is, to be honest, a lot more legitimate and a lot more feasible in a fictional world than he gets animal blood transfused into him. I also like Fruity Pubble's Beast Boy. I like how he's red. It ties into the whole concept of the green and the red and the rot a lot more, because that kind of plays in here too a little bit. The Harvest is trying to figure out how Beast Boy is getting his powers, and he doesn't realize he's getting it through the red. Uh, but the characters are nicely portrayed in this. It really does give an origin for Terra and Beast Boy, one that we were curious about, but to what extent was actually there. And again, it was actually very well handled. Ravagers, I will be giving a 4.5 out of 5. It would have been nice if there was a little bit more of the team in there. Ridge, Lightning, and Thunder are shown, but not enough. But yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Superboy, issue 0. Yeah, just like Grifter, that was it. There's no need for issue 0 for Superboy because we already know Superboy's origin. Um, Although I will give it credit that it works with it a little bit better than Grifters did. We get some Kryptonian history here, and we get basically Superboy's origin not from the perspective of Superboy, but from the perspective of Horus, which at least made it more entertaining than Grifters did. Because I bet the Tom DeFalco said to himself, and Rob Liefeld didn't, is, geez, this guy's origin was already told. What the hell am I going to do? Well, I can try this. And it worked out pretty well for what it was. Um, the bad is exactly what you think. It's just more of what we already had. It does establish some Kryptonian history, which was interesting. More talk about the con of Krypton, and it also does give a little bit more motivation and a little bit more layers to Harvest, who I thought was an underdeveloped but an interesting character from Teen Titans. Um, I'll give Tom DeFalco the benefit of the doubt, but I will also give this a 2.5 out of 5. An okay issue, but it's an okay issue. On to the last 2 issues of the week. Green Lantern Corps issue 0. This is Guy Gardner's history, his origin of becoming a Green Lantern. And apparently, in the New 52, multiple Green Lanterns are assigned to sectors. So it's not like Hal Jordan was knocked out and knocked unconscious and the ring thought he was dead, kind of like how it was beforehand, or how it was temporarily sent to Guy, or there's no loopholes or anything. The plain, flat, simple rules is that there's multiple Green Lanterns for each sector. I guess that's I always established. We get to see Guy Gardner's history with his family, his sister, his brother, and his father, and also see what event, what catalyst turned him into the Green Lantern. We see some classic Green Lantern costumes, as well as Guy Gardner getting his classic Green Lantern costume, and the first meeting between Guy and Hal, which actually goes off a lot better than you may think. You think Hal would probably be pissed, and Guy Gardner would be mooning him. There's a little banter between the two, but it's actually pretty fun. Um, Good. This really, really flushes out Guy as a character. Guy Gardner as a Green Lantern. If I had to rate my Green Lanterns, it goes like this: Hal is my favorite, Sinestro is my second, Kyle, John, and Guy. But I might just be moving Guy up past Kyle because this did what needed to be done with Guy. Guy's always been kind of a joke character, and he's just kind of been there. But I feel as though with this comic, it kind of flushes out that Guy is a good person. Yeah, sure, he's an asshole, but it really exemplifies his motivations as a person. A lot of him being an asshole is a cover up for what he really has to deal with. So it does a good job at flushing out Guy. I like how they deal with the whole getting the insignia. He has to earn his badge, kind of. And the meeting between Hal and him was actually pretty well done. Bad. The only thing I wish there was with this issue, and you couldn't do it, so I won't hold it against this issue, is I would have liked to see John Stewart's origin in the New 52 because I loved John Stewart. I think he's a good character. I like all the Green Lanterns. Just because I put them in a ranking order, just because I put maybe someone at the bottom, doesn't mean that I don't love them. I love all the Green Lanterns. Um, but yeah, 5 out of 5. Uh, we are getting some pretty good issues this month. And finally, to end things off, Shade issue 12 of 12, the final issue of the Shade miniseries. It is sad to see it go. Basically, this is the origin of the Shade, so it is kind of a zero issue in a way. James Robinson massively tells the Shade's origin and how he becomes Shade, how he gets his powers, and does it in a very cultish but in a good way. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it can be very macabre at some points. 4.5 out of 5. It ends off Shade on a good note. I only wish that this story was so fun with the journey around the world. I think James Robinson should have had another 5 to 12 issues. That's a big amount of issues, but I really think this character in this comic could have been stretched out even more because there's a lot more I think James Robinson wanted to tell. And not a lot of people picked up the Shade because, it's very dialogue heavy, but I think that's the caveat to it. I think that's what works for it. So again, Shade issue number 12, 4.5 out of 5. Fun issue, interesting issue. Pick it up. So in saying that, we have come to the end of this video. Time to say our farewells. Till tomorrow when I do my Andrew Cutter Pick of the Week video. Yeah, big week this week, but I also have to admit 4 issues were nothing but Batman. But yeah, this was I think on a whole better turnout than last week's. Which comic is going to be my Andrew Cutter Pick of the Week though? It's going to be Green Lantern. It's going to be Suicide Squad. It's going to be Batgirl. It's going to be Batman. You never know. So I'm going to end this review here. This is Andrew saying, peace out for now.